Gentlemen, let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you woke up in the morning with a strong, spontaneous erection? Not forced, not assisted, just natural, like your body used to do it automatically when you were younger. If you have to think hard to remember, you are not alone. I hear this in my clinic every single week. Men in their 50s, 60s, even 70s sitting across from me saying the same thing. And what most of them don't realize is that the answer isn't a prescription, it isn't an injection, and it isn't an expensive supplement. It might be sitting in your kitchen right now. Because what you eat in the 2 hours before you go to sleep has a direct, measurable impact on what your body produces while you sleep. Tonight, I'm going to tell you exactly what to eat before bed, why it works at a biological level, and how it can bring back morning erections that feel like they belong to a much younger version of you. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, a board-certified urologist with over 12 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their vitality, strength, and confidence. I've sat across from thousands of men who walked into my office convinced their best years were behind them. And time after time, I've watched simple, science-backed changes transform men who had almost given up into men who couldn't believe what their bodies were still capable of. Before we go any further, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love connecting with men from all over the world who are serious about their health. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time. I share new men's health tips every single week. Here's the brutal truth about what happens to morning erections as men age, and why it matters far more than most men think. A spontaneous morning erection, what doctors call a nocturnal penile tumescence, is not just about sexual function. It is your body's overnight health report. Every night during deep sleep, your body is supposed to produce 3 to 5 spontaneous erections. These erections are your body's way of oxygenating penile tissue, keeping blood vessels elastic, and essentially doing maintenance work to preserve erectile function for the long term. Think of it like a self-cleaning cycle. When those overnight erections stop happening or become weak, two things are going wrong simultaneously. First, the tissue itself begins to suffer from oxygen deprivation. Over time, this causes what we call smooth muscle fibrosis, where healthy elastic tissue is gradually replaced by stiffer, less responsive scar-like tissue. Second, it signals a problem with your vascular system. Because strong erections require strong blood flow, and strong blood flow requires nitric oxide, and nitric oxide production declines sharply after the age of 50. The third problem is testosterone. Testosterone peaks naturally during the early morning hours, and it is directly tied to the quality of those nocturnal erections. When testosterone is low, the overnight cycle weakens. When the overnight cycle weakens, testosterone production is further disrupted. It becomes a self-reinforcing spiral downward. And here is what most men don't realize. What you eat before bed either supports or sabotages every single one of these 3 systems. Tonight, we fix that. The first thing to eat before bed is a small handful of walnuts, about 1 ounce, which is roughly 14 walnut halves. Biologically, walnuts are one of the richest plant sources of L-arginine, an amino acid that your body converts directly into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells the smooth muscle inside your blood vessels to relax and open wide. Without enough nitric oxide, blood vessels stay narrowed, and blood cannot rush into penile tissue with the force needed to create a firm erection. Think of nitric oxide as the traffic controller that opens the highway. Without it, everything slows to a crawl. Walnuts also contain a high concentration of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that reduces arterial inflammation and improves the flexibility of blood vessel walls. A 2019 study published in the journal Nutrients found that men who added 2 ounces of walnuts daily to their diet showed measurable improvements in erectile function within 8 weeks, specifically in the areas of orgasmic function and sexual desire. The timing matters tremendously here. When you eat walnuts 1 to 2 hours before sleep, your body digests and absorbs the L-arginine during the first phase of sleep, exactly when your body begins its overnight erection cycle. You are essentially loading the fuel tank right before the engine needs it. Emotionally, I want you to understand what the return of strong morning erections actually means for a man. It is not just physical. The men who come to me describing the loss of morning erections almost always describe something else alongside it. A quiet withdrawal from intimacy, a creeping sense of inadequacy that they carry privately. Many describe feeling like a different man, and not in a good way. When morning erections return, that shift in self-perception is immediate and profound. Men describe feeling reconnected to themselves. Their partners notice changes in their mood, their confidence, their willingness to be present. One of my patients said it best: "It is not about the erection itself. It is about knowing my body still works the way it is supposed to." Practically, here is exactly what you do. Buy raw, unsalted walnuts. Not roasted, not flavored, raw. Measure out 1 ounce, which is about a small handful. Eat them 1 to 2 hours before bed, not right before you lie down. If you find the taste bland, pair them with a small piece of dark chocolate that is at least 70% cacao, which also supports nitric oxide production. Do this every night for 6 weeks before you evaluate the results. Consistency is everything here. 1 night of walnuts does nothing. 6 weeks of nightly walnuts begins rewiring your vascular biology. I remember Michael, 67, a retired firefighter, strong man, disciplined, someone who had taken care of his body his whole life. He sat down in my office and said, "Dr. Carter, I haven't woken up with a morning erection in over 2 years. I thought that part of my life was just done." We started with the simplest intervention first. Walnuts before bed, every night, nothing else changed. 7 weeks later, he called my office and said, and I quote, "It happened 3 mornings in a row. I actually called my wife into the bedroom just to prove to myself I wasn't imagining it." That is the power of giving your body the raw materials it has been missing. The second food to eat before bed is 2 to 3 kiwi fruits. Now, I know this surprises people. Kiwi doesn't sound like a testosterone food, but the biology here is remarkable. Biologically, kiwi fruit is one of the densest sources of serotonin precursors found in any whole food. Serotonin sounds like a sleep chemical, and it is, but here is what most people don't know. Serotonin is also the precursor to melatonin, and melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is a powerful regulator of the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, which is the hormonal chain of command that controls testosterone production. When melatonin is properly secreted during deep sleep, it sends signals down this axis that stimulate the Leydig cells in the testes to produce testosterone. Kiwi fruit also contains an extraordinary amount of vitamin C, with 2 kiwis providing more than 130% of your daily requirement. Vitamin C directly reduces cortisol, and cortisol is testosterone's most dangerous enemy. They are inversely related. When cortisol goes up, testosterone goes down. Every time. After the age of 60, cortisol tends to run chronically elevated due to accumulated stress, poor sleep, and the physiological changes of aging. Eating kiwi before bed attacks this problem from 2 directions simultaneously. It supports the hormonal signaling that produces testosterone, and it reduces the hormone that destroys it. Think of it as locking the front door while fixing the engine at the same time. Emotionally, the connection between testosterone and a man's sense of self runs deeper than most people acknowledge in polite conversation. Testosterone is not just about drive. It is about motivation, decisiveness, the feeling of being switched on. Men with chronically low testosterone describe a kind of emotional flatness. Things that used to excite them no longer do. They feel like spectators in their own lives rather than participants. When testosterone begins to recover, that flatness lifts. The world becomes interesting again. The desire to engage, to pursue, to be present returns. That is not a small thing. That is quality of life. Practically, eat 2 to 3 kiwis 1 hour before bed. Do not juice them. Eat them whole, skin and all if you can tolerate it, because the skin contains a high concentration of the beneficial compounds. If eating the skin feels like too much, peel them, but eat the full fruit. You can pair them with your walnuts to create one simple pre-bed snack that covers both bases. Buy them ripe. A ripe kiwi has significantly higher serotonin content than an unripe one. You will know it is ripe when it yields slightly to gentle pressure, like a ripe avocado. Quick pause before we continue. If you are getting value from this video, please share it with one man you know who needs to hear this. You might be the reason he takes his first step toward feeling like himself again. Now, let's keep going because the third recommendation is the one most men get completely wrong. The third food, or more precisely, the third thing to consume before bed, is a warm drink combining half a teaspoon of ashwagandha powder in warm whole milk or a warm plant-based milk of your choice. Biologically, ashwagandha is one of the most extensively studied adaptogens in clinical literature as it relates specifically to male hormonal health. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Men's Health followed men who took 300 milligrams of ashwagandha root extract twice daily for 8 weeks. The results showed a 14.7% increase in testosterone levels and a 27.9% reduction in cortisol. Let me repeat that. Nearly a 15% rise in testosterone and a 28% drop in cortisol in 8 weeks. Ashwagandha works through multiple pathways. It reduces the activity of the HPA axis, which is the stress response system that triggers cortisol release. It directly stimulates luteinizing hormone production in the pituitary gland, which is the signal that tells the testes to produce testosterone. And it reduces oxidative stress in testicular tissue, protecting the Leydig cells that are responsible for testosterone production. The warm milk it is mixed with provides tryptophan, which further supports serotonin and melatonin production, deepening sleep quality and extending the time your body spends in the restorative stages where testosterone production peaks. Think of the ashwagandha as the foreman who tells the factory to run at full capacity, and the warm milk as the electricity that keeps the lights on all night. Emotionally, sleep quality and testosterone are so deeply intertwined that improving one almost always improves the other. Men who begin sleeping more deeply consistently report waking up feeling more like themselves. The morning grogginess lifts. The mental fog that they had accepted as a normal part of aging begins to clear. Several of my patients have described this as the moment they realized how much they had adapted to feeling bad without ever recognizing it. Practically, use a standardized ashwagandha extract, not raw powder from a grocery store. Look for KSM 66 or Sensoril on the label, as these are the specific concentrated forms used in clinical studies. Take 300 milligrams, which is roughly half a teaspoon of the standard extract powder, in 8 ounces of warm milk approximately 45 minutes before bed. Do this every night. Ashwagandha is not a supplement that produces dramatic overnight effects. It accumulates in your system over 4 to 8 weeks, and the results build progressively. Do not give up after 1 week. I want to tell you about David, 71, a former high school football coach. Came to me frustrated. He said, "Dr. Carter, I've been on testosterone gel for 2 years and I still feel like something is missing." His sleep data was terrible. He was waking 3 and 4 times a night and never reaching deep sleep. We added the ashwagandha warm milk protocol before bed and addressed nothing else for 8 weeks. When he came back, his sleep tracker showed a complete transformation in his deep sleep stages. And he said something that stayed with me. He said, "I finally feel like my body is actually recovering when I sleep instead of just waiting for morning." Now let's bring this all together, because the real power is in how these 3 foods work as a system, not just individually. Walnuts before bed flood your system with L-arginine and omega-3s that prime your blood vessels for the overnight erection cycle. Kiwi fruit reduces cortisol and supports the hormonal signaling chain that produces testosterone during deep sleep. Ashwagandha in warm milk reduces stress hormone activity, stimulates testosterone-triggering hormones, and deepens the sleep stages where all of this biological work actually happens. You are not just eating 3 random foods. You are sequentially building the biological conditions your body needs to do what it was designed to do every single night. And the timing matters. Eat the walnuts and kiwi 1 to 2 hours before bed. Drink the ashwagandha milk 45 minutes before you actually lie down. That sequence aligns with how your digestive system processes each food relative to your sleep stages. Here is your simple action plan starting tonight. Step 1. 1 to 2 hours before bed, eat 1 ounce of raw walnuts and 2 to 3 ripe kiwi fruits together. Step 2. 45 minutes before bed, mix 300 milligrams of KSM 66 ashwagandha extract into 8 ounces of warm milk and drink it slowly. Step 3. Do this every single night for 8 consecutive weeks without skipping. That's it. 3 foods, 2 time windows, 8 weeks of consistency. Most men begin noticing changes in sleep depth within the first 2 weeks, improvements in morning energy within 3 to 4 weeks, and meaningful changes in erectile function and morning erections between weeks 5 and 8. Give your body the time it needs. This is biology, not magic. But the results when you are consistent are absolutely real. I want to say something directly to you before we close. If you have been frustrated by this, if you have felt embarrassed about it, if you have quietly accepted that this is just what getting older means, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not broken. Your body is not failing you. It is asking you for something specific, and you now know what that is. The loss of morning erections is not a verdict. It is a signal, and signals can be answered. I have watched men in their late 60s and 70s rediscover a vitality they thought was permanently gone. Not because of prescriptions or procedures, but because they started giving their bodies the raw materials that biology requires. Even after 60, even after 70, your body retains the capacity to regenerate, to restore, to respond. It is never too late to begin. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to wake up and know your body is working the way it was designed to work. That dignity is not something that belongs only to younger men. It belongs to you right now. If this video gave you hope or gave you something useful, please give it a like so other men can find it. Leave a comment below and tell me, have you tried any of these foods before? Type yes or no in the comments. I read every single one. Share this with a friend, a brother, a father, a neighbor who you know is dealing with this quietly on his own. You might be the reason he takes the first step. And subscribe to this channel so you never miss my weekly videos on men's health after 50. The information I share here is grounded in real clinical practice and real patient outcomes, not trends and not guesswork. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, reminding you that after 50, vitality is not lost. It is simply waiting for you to awaken it. Take care of yourself, gentlemen, and I will see you in the next one.